We're talking about the art of saying no, how to set boundaries without feeling guilty. So many entrepreneurs struggle with this, but here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to something that does. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly why we struggle to say no, how to set firm yet graceful boundaries, and how to stop feeling guilty about protecting your time. So let's dive in. Welcome to The Seasoned Entrepreneur, the podcast dedicated to helping entrepreneurs over 50 build and scale their businesses with confidence in today's digital world. I'm your host, Vanessa Collins, and if you're ready to turn your experience and passion into profit, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into strategies, insights, and expert interviews focused on digital marketing, messaging, and automation. Because building a business over 50 isn't just about making money. It's about impact, legacy, and proving it's never too late to thrive. Let's get started. So why is it so hard for us to say no? I have found that for entrepreneurs over 50, this can be especially challenging. We've spent decades building our professional reputations on being helpful, resourceful, and available. But in business, saying yes to everything is a recipe for burnout and frustration. Let's break down the main reasons we struggle to decline requests. First, there's the fear of missing out, the good old FOMO. We say yes because we think this might be an opportunity we can't pass up. What if this free call leads to a major client? What if declining this speaking engagement means missing a networking opportunity? This fear keeps us saying yes, even when our instincts tell us otherwise. Then there's the fear of disappointing others. We don't want to let our clients, colleagues, or friends down, especially for those of us who've built careers on being reliable and helpful. Saying no can feel like we are failing someone, and no one likes to feel like they're letting other people down. Many of us also have people-pleasing tendencies. We feel good when we make others happy. We've been socialized to be helpful and available. This is particularly true for women entrepreneurs who often face different expectations about accommodating others' needs. And finally, many of us struggle with a lack of clear boundaries. If we don't define what we will or won't accept in our business and life, everything feels like an obligation. Without boundaries, we're constantly reacting to other people's priorities instead of focusing on our own. Here's the key takeaway. Saying no isn't about being selfish. It's about respecting your time and energy. It's about recognizing that you are a finite resource. Your time, your expertise, your energy, these are your most valuable assets as an entrepreneur. And just like any valuable asset, you need to protect them. So what happens when we can't say no? Let me tell you, the consequences extend far beyond just having a busy calendar. First and foremost is burnout and overwhelm. When you say yes to everything, you're constantly giving your energy away. You're running on empty, trying to fulfill promises and meet expectations. This leads to exhaustion, stress, and eventually burnout. I have seen this happen to so many entrepreneurs over 50. We often have this belief that we need to hustle harder than younger entrepreneurs to prove ourselves. But the truth is, this nonstop giving leads to physical and emotional exhaustion that can take months to recover from. The second consequence is diluting your impact. When you spread yourself too thin, you can't excel at what truly matters. As the saying goes, if everything is a priority, nothing is. But saying yes to too many things, you're actually reducing your effectiveness in the areas that truly drive your business forward. Think about it. Would you rather be mediocre at 10 things or exceptional at 3? When you say no to the wrong opportunities, you make space to say an enthusiastic yes to the right ones. And finally, always saying yes leads to resentment and frustration. When you overcommit, you end up feeling trapped in your own schedule, doing things you don't want to do for people who may not even appreciate it. Now, here's an example to think about. Have you ever taken a free consultation call only to realize later that it drained your energy and didn't lead to business growth? We're going to just call that a random example, for a friend. No, this happens all the time. I'm a witness. Maybe the person monopolized your time, had no intention of becoming a client, or worse, took your ideas and implemented them without giving you credit or compensation. Now, I would love to say that is just a random example, but no. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, including myself, can attest to this happening. So don't spend hours each week on unpaid calls or responding to messages asking for free advice. That's valuable time that could have been spent on paying clients, developing products, or even taking a much needed break. Now remember this. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals or values, you are saying no to something that does. That free hour you gave away, that could have been an hour working on your book, developing your course, or spending time with your family. The bottom line is this. Your business won't grow if you are constantly giving away your most valuable resources, your time and expertise, for free. Now that we understand why saying no is so important, let's talk about how to do it effectively. Because let's face it, saying no doesn't come naturally to many of us. But with practice, it can become one of your most valuable business skills. Now, I've broken this down into 3 steps. Step number 1, get clear on your priorities. Before you can say no effectively, you need to know what you are saying yes to. This means getting crystal clear on your priorities, both in business and life. Start by identifying what is truly worth your time and what isn't. Ask yourself, does this align with my business goals? That means you have to know what your business goals are. Does this serve my ideal clients? Will this move my business forward? Does this energize me or drain me? Define your yes criteria. These are the conditions that must be met before you agree to something. Now, for example, this is my yes criteria. It must align with my expertise in digital marketing, business automation, or publishing. It must generate revenue or have clear strategic value. It must fit within my designated work hours, and it must be something I genuinely want to do. If a request doesn't meet your criteria, it's automatically a no, and you don't need to feel guilty about that. Step number 2, use strategic responses. Once you know what warrants a yes or a no, you need diplomatic ways to decline requests. Now, here are some phrases I have found effective. Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not taking on those types of projects right now. I appreciate the invitation, but that doesn't align with my current focus. Not right now, but I appreciate the opportunity. That sounds interesting, but I have to prioritize other commitments at the moment. And then for those pick your brain requests, I have a standard response. Thanks for reaching out. I offer paid strategy sessions specifically for these types of questions. Here's my link to book if you're interested. Now notice, none of these responses included the word sorry. That's intentional. When you apologize for maintaining healthy boundaries, you're subtly reinforcing the idea that you're doing something wrong, which you are not. Also notice that most of these responses are short and clear. You don't need to over-explain or justify your decision. A brief, kind response is all that's required. Step number 3, set firm yet kind boundaries. The final step is to implement systems that protect your boundaries automatically. This removes the emotional labor of saying no repeatedly. One strategy is to automate responses for common requests. For example, you can create email templates for frequently asked questions or requests. This saves from crafting a new response each time. Using scheduling tools is another great way to control your availability. Now, I use Digital Mastery CRM, the calendar scheduling tool in that shows specific days and times that I'm available for calls. This way, I'm never asked to meet outside my designated work hours. If you go on my calendar, you will see that I don't take calls before 1 p.m. This is because I often work until 8 p.m. or later in my business. I also typically do not do calls on Mondays or Fridays. Social media is another place where boundaries get tested. Consider setting specific hours for checking and responding to messages. As we talked about last week, be careful with people trying to pick your brain for advice via DM. Don't be afraid to send them a calendar link. And finally, make peace with the fact that you can't please everyone. Some people will be disappointed or even upset when you say no. That's okay. As Maya Angelou wisely said, when people show you who they are, believe them. People who don't respect your boundaries are showing you something important about how they view your time and expertise. Remember, setting boundaries isn't just good for you, it's good for your clients too. When you are focused, rested, and energized, you can show up as your best self and deliver exceptional value to the people who truly appreciate what you offer. Now, even when you know intellectually that saying no is the right thing to do, you might still struggle with feelings of guilt or anxiety. You might worry about how the other person will react or feel bad about not being able to help. This is completely normal, especially for those of us who have spent decades building our identities around being helpful. But here are some mindset shifts that can help you overcome these feelings. First, remember that every yes is a no to something else. When you say yes to an unaligned request, you're saying no to time for your goals, your paying clients, or even your personal well-being. Your time is a zero-sum game. There are only so many hours in a day. Choose wisely how you spend them. Second, understand that people will respect you more, not less, when you set clear boundaries. Think about it. Do you respect people who are available all the time for everything? Or do you respect people who value their time and expertise? Setting boundaries positions you as a professional whose time and knowledge are valuable. Third, recognize that if someone gets upset by your boundaries, that's their issue, not yours. You're not responsible for managing other people's emotions when you are simply protecting your energy and business. Their reaction is more about their expectation than your response. A practical tip for overcoming the discomfort of saying no is to practice, literally role playing saying no in different scenarios so it feels natural when the time comes. Stand in front of a mirror and practice saying, "Thank you for thinking of me, but that's not something I can take on right now." The more you say it, the easier it becomes. Another strategy is to give yourself time to respond to requests. Instead of answering immediately, say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This gives you space to check in with yourself and make a decision that aligns with your boundaries. And if you're still struggling with guilt, remind yourself of past experiences where saying yes led to regret, frustration, or burnout. Use these memories as motivation to protect your boundaries moving forward. Remember, saying no isn't just about declining requests. It's about creating space for the right opportunities. It's about building a business that energizes you rather than drains you. And it's about showing up as your best self for the people who truly value what you have to offer. As we wrap up today's episode on the art of saying no, let's recap the key points. First, understanding why saying no is difficult, whether it's a fear of missing out, fear of disappointing others, people-pleasing tendencies, or lack of clear boundaries, is the first step to changing this pattern. Second, always saying yes leads to burnout, diluted impact, and resentment. These consequences affect not just your business, but your health and happiness too. Third, saying no effectively requires clarity on your priorities, strategic responses, and firm yet kind boundaries. With practice, saying no becomes easier and more natural. And finally, overcoming guilt and pushback is possible when you shift your mindset and remember that setting boundaries is essential for your success and well-being. So here's my challenge to you. This week, try saying no to one thing that doesn't align with your priorities. It could be a coffee chat, a request for free advice, or a project that doesn't excite you. Notice how it feels and remind yourself that you're making space for better opportunities. That's it for today's episode of The Seasoned Entrepreneur. I hope you found value in our conversation and are feeling inspired to take action in your business journey. Remember, it's never too late to master digital marketing, refining your message, or implement automation that saves you time and boosts your bottom line. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to do a couple of things. First, subscribe to the podcast so you'll never miss an episode. And if you really found this helpful, please leave a review. Your feedback helps other entrepreneurs over 50 discover the show, and it means the world to me. Also, don't forget to share this episode with someone you know who's on their entrepreneurial journey. We're building a community of seasoned entrepreneurs, and together we're proving that age is just experience, and experience is powerful. For show notes and links mentioned in today's episode, head over to theseasonedentrepreneur.com. You can also connect with me on Instagram at VanCollins1. That's the number 1 to continue the conversation. Thanks again for tuning in. Keep pushing forward, keep building, and remember, your best season of entrepreneurship is just starting. I'll see you next time on The Seasoned Entrepreneur.